And in 1999, I said in 2016, the market would crash, but it didn't crash. And there's many reasons why it didn't crash. One reason was I didn't foresee quantitative easing. I didn't think they would print that much money. I mean, I still can't believe it. I couldn't believe interest rates would go below zero. So that's why it didn't crash. But also in 2016, Trump got elected. So it was on course, on schedule to crash in 2016. But today we have a coronavirus. Look at the boards over here, they're bright red and all this. And if I was a millennial, I'd be concerned. I'd be very, very concerned because the boomers like me, we had it so easy. You know, back when I graduated from school in 1969, there were high-paying jobs, stock market kept going up, real estate kept going up. It was fantastic. But you guys, when you look at that bright red board, I would be questioning, what am I going to do now? Then this is fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. And what's real money is gold and silver. You know, gold and silver are God's money. God made that money. It's unlike Bitcoin, unlike the dollar or the peso or the yen. But who's told my pension just came out, and because where that's affecting us is the real reason the prophecy is real is because the pensions are crashing. And when I came back from Vietnam, I was 25 years old, about your age. My poor dad was poor. I just come back from Vietnam. He was unemployed. He had no job. He had no paycheck, and he had no pension. And he had a PhD. He didn't know anything. So that's why the Rich Dad Company was founded, you know, some years later, is because I had to prove I knew what I was doing so I could get rich without a job, without paychecks, without a pension. And that's why the Rich Dad Company was founded, because with the right financial education, this crash would be the best thing that ever happened to you. But if you're thinking like my poor dad, PhD, poor, helpless, and desperate, you'll probably be just like him. So the reason I'm saying this is your greatest asset is this, your brain. And that's why we created this board game here, cash flow. So if you take this game and you actually play it and study with your friends and all that, you'll get smarter. So instead of getting crushed, you have a chance. There's no guarantee of it, because if let's say there's 100 people watching today, 2 of you will do something. I've been 50 years now. When I graduated from school, when I was 25 years old, all of my friends wanted high-paying jobs. So I get out of the Marine Corps. Many of my classmates did. They went to fly for United Airlines. So they made a lot of money. For them, it was a lot of money. It was about $400,000 a year. I didn't take that route. Instead, I went to work for Xerox to learn how to sell. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you've got to sell. So when I say that to most people, they say, well, I don't want to sell. So you're not going to learn that way. Then I had to learn how to public speak. Then I learned to write books and all this. So I get richer and richer and richer as the economy goes down. So all of you listening right now, this is your greatest asset, and you have a chance, because while your classmates are crashing and burning, you might go the other way, because most of my classmates are broke right now. My friends who are captains for United Airlines, their pensions disappeared, I think, in 2009 or 10. It got wiped out. And it's coming down the biggest ever. The board is bright red. So the biggest thing here is that what I say to young people is invest in this here, because that's all I did. So ladies and gentlemen, Rich Dad was founded back in 1997. I don't know how many years, 22 years now. But the reason is we believe in teaching people to fish. Our school system teaches you to give people. And there's 20% of the population, it's the 80-20 rule, it's called Pareto's Law. 80% versus 20%. So 80% of the people need to learn how to fish. 20% need to be given fish. The problem is what Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all these socialists and communists are saying, they're good people. I agree with them. But the number of people who need to be given fish only increases. So you can listen to the school teachers who say that we should take care of the poor, and we should, but not by giving them money. And this market is going to come down. It's going to be the biggest crash in world history, because pensions are the biggest problem in the world. I called it in here back in 2002 or something, I forget the date. It was supposed to crash in 2016 until Trump got elected and quantitative easing. Now they kept printing. So they're blaming Trump right now. It's not Trump. It's our school system. We're still teaching people to work for money and give poor people money. And there's 20% that needs to be given money. But the rest of you can do something. She says, the love of money is the root of all evil. That's this punky little 9-year-old kid. And she says, we don't teach money at school. I said, why not? And she couldn't answer me. And she got very flustered. She said, sit down, take your seat. And then I got curious. I said, why don't we learn about money? She says, go ask your father. He's my boss. So my father was the head of education, PhD, all that stuff. I go home and ask him, I said, why don't we learn about money in school? And he looked at me and says, because the government doesn't let us teach that subject. The government tells us what we can teach and what we can't teach. And I thought that was strange. And I said, but aren't we going to school to learn about money? He says, no, your job is to get a job. I said, but you get a job to earn money. He goes, no, you're supposed to just get a job. And I went, no. Isn't the purpose of a job to earn money? He goes, you're correct. I said, so why don't I just learn about money? I can skip the job part, And he got flustered and he said, if you want to learn about money, why don't you ask your best friend's father about money? And I said, why? That's Mike. So why ask him? He says, because Mike's father is an entrepreneur. And I said, what are you? He says, I'm an employee. I'm a government employee. And I went, oh, what's the difference? He says, the difference is an entrepreneur must know about money, or they're no longer entrepreneurs. And he says an employee doesn't have to know anything about money, because the government will take care of them, the company will take care of them. So I'm all confused. But I took my dad's advice and I trundled over to Mike's father's office and knocked on his door and I said, hey, I'm here, 9 years old. Teach me about money. He says, beat it, kid, He says, the moment I pay you, you think like an employee. He says, that's the trap. Entrepreneurs work for free. He says, you never want a paycheck. Understand that, kid. Okay, I got it. And he says, well, how do I make money? He says, that's what entrepreneurs figure out. We're playing Monopoly. He says, what do you think we're doing? I don't know. I'm teaching you about money. Then that's when, you have one greenhouse. He says, there's many formulas for great success in money. There's thousands of them. But one of the best ones found on the game of Monopoly. Still is today. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. I said, what? He says, one of the greatest ways to acquire great wealth is playing Monopoly in real life. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. But is that all there is? He goes, that's it. And 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel.
Just like the game of Monopoly.
Just like the game of Monopoly. And one day Fuller asked me, he says, what's your life's purpose? And I said, make money. And how did I know that was the wrong answer? And he scolded me, because here I'm in rock and roll, and sex, drugs, rock and roll. I don't do drugs, but I was trying for the rest. And he goes, it's a waste of a good mind just to make money. I'm going, what do you mean? He says, I thought we were supposed to make money. And he just challenged my paradigm, the way I looked at world and business. He says, and I covered this in Fake, and the question he asked me, he says, why don't you do what God wants you to do? I went, what? He says, look, humanity is evolving. And you have to ask yourself, what does God want done? Not fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. They're all one scenario. And they don't go into business to solve problems and to make the world a better place to live. Like, I don't really need money, but the reason I keep working is because we need more entrepreneurs, we need more people who are honest, legitimate, moral, ethical, and do business to make the world better. And this is Anik, and this is his book. If I buy, let's say, Apple for $10 and I sell it for $20, that's portfolio income, capital gains.
Yeah.
But passive income, which is cash flow, is never taxed. So it's not, and so these guys are screaming right now in America, tax the rich. I said, good luck. Because most of the guys complaining, they don't know there's 3 kinds of income. And the rich don't have jobs anyway. They have assets. And so the average schmo out there, poor guy, sent the kid to school. They don't learn this. Our schools will never teach you that 3 types of income. There's always 3 sides to a coin, heads, tails, and the edge. So which side of the coin are you on? From my side, it's fair. But this is the difference. Everybody can do the same thing I do, because the tax laws are for everybody. We don't say, well, the tax law is only for the rich. No, the tax laws are for everybody to use if you have the right financial education.